welcome back. Today's actually a tea talk. I made myself a tea today. I don't know why I was feeling this combo, but I went for raspberry leaf for my hormonal cycle. Chose dandelion because it's like the exact opposite of the season I'm in right now, which is pure winter, but it's actually a sunny day. But yeah, I chose dandelion because I don't know, it gave sunlight. And I chose chai for a little bit of warmth, spice, and energy. So that was the little tea combo I made today. And lately when I make my teas, I've been combining different ones, and then I will keep them in this cup for 2 or 3 cups. So I'll brew hot water a few times. And so I actually get 3 or 4 cups of tea out of it, except I'll probably take the chai out because that would maybe be a bit too much caffeine. But so our card of the day is Awakening Inspired Action. There is only what life is asking of me. I love that concept, the idea to awaken action within you that comes from a place of inspiration. I think that kind of action not only is the most powerful, but it feels the best. It's not something we can do all of the time because that would be unrealistic to expect as human beings. We are meant to fluctuate. We're meant to go through periods of feeling uninspired so that we can re-inspire ourselves and open doors to new things that gives us that feeling of inspiration, which puts us into activation from a place where we're fine-tuning what we're here to do. We are all here for our own separate reasons. Just because we come here with purposes, and I'm going to use plural on purposes because I think that while we can have one overarching purpose for our lives, but I think that we naturally fulfill many purposes throughout a lifetime. And so just because we come here with a lot of purpose doesn't always mean that we're acting in alignment with that purpose. And even that, again, can be part of our story, right? It's part of our understanding of ourselves when we go from acting aimlessly to acting in the direction of what we believe to be our purpose, or a purpose that fulfills us or awakens us or inspires us. And so, yeah, maybe that's what that is. In order to awaken inspired action, you have to ask yourself what purpose inspires you most, because that's what is going to give you the awakening of that activation. We can be inspired by things. We don't actually act on those inspirations unless we feel awakened by them. You can be inspired by something and just move on with your day, and it just gave you a nice little dose of something to feel good, But it's the stuff that inspires us so deeply that it creates a new awakening within us. That is usually the type of stuff you want to act on, the type of inspirations you want to act on. And if there's any question as to what those things could be, the most awakening things that inspire us most tend to also be the things that we are most fearful of or afraid of. If you're looking for inspiration, or if you're looking for purpose, if you are looking to awaken inspired action, ask yourself, what are you most afraid of? What's the thing that you are most afraid of? And then use that fear as your inspiration. You'll know what you're most afraid of because it's not what you're most afraid of in the sense of what could happen, but more so the thing that you think about every day, but you haven't done yet. You haven't taken the step yet because there's something stopping you or blocking you. That is the awakening. It's gonna open yourself up to this new fear, to face the demon, to face the monster, to face the fear for what it is by taking action on it. And then the quote on the back, there is only what life is asking of me. So it depends on what you believe, but to me it makes sense that the ways that we interact with the world around us and also the world within us is what the world or what life is asking of us, because otherwise, why would life be moving through us in such way? What do you feel inspired action for if you were to think about what would make you so excited to do right now? Because whatever that thing is, I want to be, what's the right word? I want to be grounded enough in understanding that while we might not be able to do it literally this second, and I have grace for that, because whether it's you have responsibilities of a job, you have responsibilities of children, you have responsibilities you've pre-committed to that need now, okay, then do those things now. But something you can do right now that still is in alignment with whatever that awakened action is for you, whatever that inspiration is for you, whatever that purpose is for you, is right now decide on what the first step is going to be. And if you cannot take it right now, make sure you truly carve out exactly in the right now when you're going to do it, and then do it. This might be a hot take. And so I totally understand if not everyone agrees with me on this, because it requires sensitivity, but I'm going to do my best to tiptoe around it. That even in the state of the world that it is right now, even your worst fear of what we are experiencing as a collective, as human beings that exist in the same time and place on this planet, and what we're going through globally, and all of our collective fears on the trajectory of the way things could go. If you were to go in your mind to the most fearful place, you could awaken inspired action from that place by thinking, and so what if it does? And so what if that happens? Like, so what? Let's say, I'll say it. I'll be the one. In the most neutral way I can think of saying it, it would just be ceasing to exist. It would be human beings ceasing to exist. That would be my worst case scenario, because obviously, this is interesting. This is actually very interesting, because obviously I had the thought recently, we're going really, really deep right now. I'm just going to disclaim that. I'm forewarning you. We're about to Landon is on board. I'm getting big smiles. So there's this song I heard recently, and it's definitely worth a listen. It's called My Ego Dies in the End. I always type it in my phone as ego death, because it is literally the song that made me go, oh shit. My Ego Dies in the End by Jensen McCrae. And listening to this song, I had one of those aha moments where it's something we all know, but it's just sometimes having someone phrase it the right way to you, where it clicks in your brain and it clicks in your body and in your knowing. And it was this song that did that for me, because it clicked like, oh my gosh, wait, when we die at the end, we don't die. Like, energy doesn't die. The source of life doesn't die. Our ego just dies in the end. And our ego is tied to our bodies. It's tied to the human part of us. And when our human part dies, our ego dies. But the energy within us, the energy that is creating you and co-creating with you at all times, the way we interact with the world, like, that energy doesn't die. I've heard the idea of a drop returning back to the ocean. I've heard the ideas of source light returning back and then being recycled again. And it's like made sense, but this was the time where I was like, oh yeah, it does make sense. So this is coming back around. When I think about my worst case scenario, when I think about ceasing to exist, the reason why I fear that, the greatest threat to the ego is non-existence. Because if the ego doesn't exist, who can care for the ego? So, I mean, that's how it makes sense in my brain. It's like my ego wants to exist so it can keep on caring about existing. It's this like weird perpetual loop that we live in, where of course the ego doesn't want the human body to die. And that's why it's tied to the human body. So the ego does whatever it can or thinks it can to protect the human body from trauma, both physically, mentally, emotionally, in relationships. And that's why we see so much rampant ego in the world, because we're all trying to like protect all of our sensitive spots, all of the sensitive places of what it is to experience being a human. But I also do believe that there are two parts to us. There's the human part and the non-human part. And we could go down so many theories about what the non-human part is, but I'm just going to call it consciousness, and that consciousness cannot die. Only the ego can die. And sorry, coming back around to thinking of ceasing to exist, of course that makes me fear. I fear ceasing to exist because my ego wants my body to live, but also even more so now, I fear to cease to exist because I have children and I want them to live a long, happy, like prosperous, full life. But I don't get to decide what that life is. And that, again, is a sensitive topic and not one that I'm looking to like, let's trail off that way, because I think that there can be a lot of mixed opinions on like, I know that there are a lot of people that don't believe in bringing children into the world right now. I'm one of the people that did. I'm one of the people that I made my choice, or my choice kind of made me. I was meant to be a mom, and I'll leave it at that. But I fear I fear the idea of my kids not existing. I fear the idea of me not existing for my kids. And that's like one of the deepest fears that I can probably hold space for. But there's also freedom in that. There is awakened action in that. And the awakened action that comes from that fear is, and what if I would have no way of controlling that? I have no way of stopping that. But that doesn't exist. It is a fear, but it doesn't exist. What exists is right now. And right now, I exist and my kids exist. And there is so much freedom in that, because whether or not the future unfolds in the most fearful ways or hopefully the most hopeful ways, all that exists is now. And if you allow yourself to go to the most fearful places of your brain and just face it and then say, and what if that does happen? What will you do? There's nothing I could do. Okay, so then now you have a sense of freedom in the now, because if that happens, then that's going to happen. And if it's going to happen, how would you live today knowing that was going to happen? Well, today I would probably be a lot more free of the more trivial things. I would probably have a lot more grace for myself and for other people. And I would also probably like soak up the things I love the most. And if we lived like that every single day, we would be doing what I think life is asking of us. We would be, I don't know, I think that would be like, I think we would see radical change in a really cool way if everyone was able to like do that and live by that, or live through that, or live like that. We would all be awakened, really. We would be working with inspired action because we woke ourselves up to the scariest things, the scariest nightmares, and said, yeah, so what? Try me. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it, and I haven't even read the deck book. I'm so sorry. I'm rambly today. Also, hate that I did that. Hate that I just apologized. Working on it, work in progress. Awakening inspired action. This is how the creator of the deck wanted it to be known, wanted this card to be known. It says, when you awaken inspired action, you are an open, willing participant in your soul's journey. You are ready, willing, and able to face any feeling or make any necessary change just for the chance to serve the cosmic plan of the universe. When inspired action has been awakened, you radiate higher frequencies of light for the well-being of all. I feel like that was kind of what I was trying to get at, but I didn't know how to say it in a way that everyone could like agree, because that might throw some people off. Like, you're radiating at a higher frequency. It is true. If we get into like quantum physics, it actually is true, but for the well-being of all, like that's just a magical way of saying that if we were all being the better version of ourselves, obviously it would have a ripple effect on other people that we bounce off of in a day-to-day. This mantra is ideal for overcoming self-sabotage, resolving boredom, and increasing fulfillment. So that is our card of the day. My camera's about to die, and I forgot to flip the viewfinder, and my memory card keeps filling up, and Landon's pretty much done. He's done. Yeah, he's done kind of hanging out here. So I'm going to wrap up this chat. I hope you guys enjoyed hanging out. Thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out. Let me know what you were drinking down below. I'm going to go refill some hot water in this cup and get some other work done. And I will see all of you guys, or chat with all of you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.